Hey, what is going on guys? This is Tharshey and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are back with another Game of Thrones Dragonfire video, and in today's video we're going to be going through everything you need to know about heirlooms. So we're going to go through which ones you should focus on, what they do, how to get all the resources to get them, and all of that good stuff. So if you guys do enjoy this video, then please do drop a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and if it turn those post notifications. Anyways, before we get into it, I just want to say if you do want to support the channel further and get access to all the members first videos, then do consider becoming a YouTube channel member. Anyways, let's get straight into it. Okay guys, so what are heirlooms and how do they work? Well, very simply, if you click on your base and you go to enter, you will see a bunch of tabs that come up. So you have barracks, boost center, upgrades, throne room, and then you have heirlooms over here. So if you click on it, it's going to take you to this page. It's going to give you a house level, and there's two different categories: realm expansion and dragon growth. Each one, depending on how many points you put into it, will have a amount of power that it contributes to your total power. But what are heirlooms and what exactly do they do? So heirlooms are basically permanent upgrades that stick with you throughout your different campaigns and different seasons. So basically what that means is, currently I'm in my first season or my first campaign of Dragonfire, and if I put any upgrades into my heirloom to, say, increase my barracks capacity, and then once this season ends I go into season 2. Now when I go into season 2, my default base barracks capacity will be increased by that amount that I am getting from the heirloom upgrade. Or for example, let's say it takes, 24 hours to relocate after you've already relocated, right? But you go and you upgrade the heirloom that decreases relocation time. So let's say it decreases it by 12 hours. That means that even in my next season or my future seasons, in any of them, it's only ever going to take me 12 hours to relocate because my heirloom decreases my total relocation time by 12 hours. So it's basically just a permanent upgrade that once you have it unlocked will always apply to you. It doesn't matter what campaign you're in, it's just permanent upgrades that you can get to help speed up your progress in future seasons. Now, they do work in a pretty interesting way. So we're going to click on realm expansion just because I have done a lot more here, and I'm going to quickly talk about how they work and when they actually activate. So as you can see, there's different levels. Okay, so this is the first level, obviously, or the first group of heirloom upgrades that you get unlocked. If you click on the middle one is always just an amplifier. So that basically amplifies all the different heirlooms in its group, and each of the side ones are specific upgrades. So for example, this one is reducing the iron cost of your stronghold upgrades. This is reducing the stone cost, reducing the wood cost, reducing the time required to actually do upgrades. And the amplifier will just do a small increase to each of those four things: the time efficiency, the wood, stone, and the iron costs. Now, your heirloom upgrades that you do only come into effect at a certain house level. So as you can see, my house level over here on the top right is level 80. If you click on it, it'll explain what house level is. So raise your house level through chapter quests and events to activate heirlooms each campaign. Now that is important. Basically, if you have higher level heirlooms unlocked, they won't actually be active in a new campaign until your house level reaches the criteria required to activate them. So if we go next over here, upgrades you've obtained will become active when you reach the required house level. And then house level resets at the end of each campaign, but heirloom mastery is always active. Okay, so let's go back and have a look at this. So what does that mean? It means, for example, these upgrades, so this heirloom here, this is wood power, wood capacity, stone. So this is basically your resource production bonuses as well as resource capacity bonuses. These will only become active in a campaign once your house level reaches 12. So we start off a brand new campaign, you start off at level 0 or level 1, and you have access to the first ones. Then once you hit level 12, you will get access to these ones. Then if you have any upgrades in this section, they will, so let's say I've got all of these at 10 out of 15. they will only actually give me their bonuses once I hit house level 12 and these become active. For example, if we go further up, you can see that I actually do have a bunch of upgrades here. This is only becoming active at house level 23 though. So when I start off a campaign, this won't be active immediately, but the minute my house level hits 23, all these heirloom upgrades become active. And the heirloom upgrades I have here are just, what is this? Training time efficiency, barracks capacity, and relocate cooldowns. Basically, this one reduces the time it takes for me to be able to relocate again. This one increases the total amount of troops I can store in my barracks, and this one increases, or should I say, decreases the amount of time needed to train new troops. Now, as you go up, you'll keep on seeing new levels and new heirlooms and different, abilities you can have. But remember, they only become active once you hit a certain house level. For example, right now I'm house level 80. So if I had, for example, this heirloom upgraded, which increases the rate at which your resolve regenerates, if I had that active, it would only have been activated once my house level went over 78, But right now, like for example, if I had, let's say I upgraded this, it wouldn't matter yet, because until I hit house level 89, these bonuses from these heirlooms will not actually be active. So that is something to keep into account. There are pretty powerful bonuses later, but it will take you longer in your campaign to level up your house high enough for them to actually be active. But they will always be there, and when your house does hit it in each new campaign, all those upgrades or that you've done to your heirlooms will become active again and give you their benefits. Now, that is how heirlooms work, how house level works, and basically how to actually make sure your heirlooms are activated every campaign, which is obviously reaching the required house level. Now, your house level you just get, as you saw by the little tooltip, you just increase that through events and through campaign chapters and all of that, so it'll naturally increase as you play the game. Now, the resources required for heirlooms, so if we click on this again and we click on any of the heirlooms, it'll show the different resources we need. So right now this only needs 2, but as you get to higher levels, for example this one, it will need a bit of every resource. So the resources you have are up here. These are runic fragments, and there are 2 ways to get them. One is encounters, 2 is events. So basically you either earn it from doing events, or you can grind them out, at least grind some of them out by sweeping mobs on the map. If we have a look at our next one, this is Valerian tablets, and you can only get these from events, at least at the moment. Obviously you can also buy all of this, guys, but we're not talking about that, right? Every single resource in the game can be bought with real money, so if that is the way you want to do it, you can do it that way. You can buy your way to the end, no problem. But we're talking about earning it for free. Dragonlord scrolls, events, navigator, or campaign stages. A navigator is just it's just going and basically finding mobs or something that have that will actually drop you some of that resource. Final thing here is amplifier seals. These actually generate at a time per an hour, but they also can be gotten from sweeping mobs. So those are the resources that you do need to actually upgrade your heirlooms, and that is how you would get them. Now, the next part and the final part of this guide is going to be which heirlooms should you focus on, which heirlooms should you put your resources into. Now, if you are a pay-to-play or pay-to-win player, this doesn't really apply to you, because you can just buy more resources and upgrade your heirlooms to whatever level you want, okay? Like, let's be real. If you want to just come over here and, I guess, increase the damage to all your dragons, but you don't have the resources, just buy whatever you need, upgrade this as far as you want, okay? You don't really need to optimize the way you do things. I mean, you could, depending on how much you're spending, but if you're just okay with spending more, you don't really have to optimize. You can just keep spending to upgrade and get what you want. But we're going to talk about, for a free-to-play or a very low spending player, who has limited resources, what should you focus on? Now, my personal advice, and this is dependent on how you play the game, okay, or what you feel is more worthwhile. But my personal feeling on this matter and my personal advice on what I have done is I've gone directly into realm expansion, okay? And we'll get to why just now. But if we have a look at dragon growth, they are a decent a couple of heirlooms over here that I think are actually okay, but the starting heirlooms I just don't think are worth it, right? So this is all just increasing your damage against resource defenders and all of that, and I really don't think that most players are going to need bonus damage against tiles, okay? Your dragons are good enough. Even just blue dragons that are 4 or 5 stars are going to be absolutely great against tiles. You really do not need to waste precious heirloom resources upgrading this further. This I did put a couple points into just because I wanted to get that bonus XP. So this is the second tier of dragon upgrades from house level 17. And what this does is it increases the XP earned from grinding tiles. And the reason I did put a couple points into here was I just wanted to earn more XP every time I took a tile so that I could try and level up my dragons just a little bit faster. That being said, I do think I shouldn't have done this, and I do consider this a little bit of a waste of resources. That being said, I don't really mind it either, so it's okay, but I don't recommend you guys do this, okay? If you're a free-to-play player, if you're a small spender, just ignore your dragon upgrades, okay? You don't need these, okay? These are more for the pay-to-win guys, okay, that can afford it. What I think you should put all your upgrades into is everything under Realm Expansion. This is going to help you just do things cheaper, help you speed up things, and just it's going to be a lot more helpful for you than increasing your dragon attack or increasing your dragon defense against resource tiles or whatever, okay? You really don't need that. Focus on these instead. So the first level has your cost efficiency, okay? So cost efficiency for wood, stone, and iron, I don't think it's the biggest issue really. I don't think you really need to put too much into this. If you do want to put a couple points into it or a couple resources into it, I guess it's okay. But for this first layer, the thing I would say is the most valuable is time efficiency, okay? So if you do want to put any points into here, I would recommend the time efficiency one, which is this top right, because this is going to allow you to do all your upgrades in your home base a lot quicker. So I do think that is worthwhile because, time is important, especially if you don't have the most time to sit on the game all day just spamming upgrades. If we get to the next tier, this is wood production. This is resource production and resource capacity. Again, I haven't put any points into it because I don't think that is an issue. If I go out, you'll see I'm literally, okay, right now I am actually a bit low on a couple resources, but if you look at my production, I'm producing over 100,000 of every resource, and if I'm short on something, I have way too much of food, so I can just go and, just buy a bunch of that. Yeah, we'll convert to a bunch of food. Let me just convert some food over there, convert some food into some stone. And yeah, I'm really not having a problem with resources, so I don't think wasting your precious heirloom resources on upgrading things to do that is worth it. So I would say skip everything on this first tier, except time if you need it. Skip everything on the second tier. Come over to the third tier. Now on the third tier, there are some stuff that I think is very well worth it, okay? So number 1 is training time efficiency, and number 2 is relocate cooldown. Now I also did put in, as you can see, some points into barracks capacity just because I wanted to increase my barracks capacity a little bit, but that's really not important. These other 2 are the ones that you're going to want to focus on, and then obviously you can put points into the amplifier as well to increase it a bit further. Now the reason I think these 2 are so important is number 1, if you are fighting on multiple fronts, if your alliance is moving around a lot and you do not have gold, because remember, to do a free teleport takes time, and if you're on cooldown, you have to just sit there and wait, or you have to spend 100 gold to pay for the paid teleport, the one that costs gold. Now, if you're a free-to-play player, you're probably not going to want to waste gold teleporting around, for a couple fights here, a couple fights there, wherever your alliance needs you. You need to do it the free way. You need to teleport somewhere, stay there for a while, fight over there, whatever, until you have a free teleport available again, and you can move to wherever else you're needed. Now, the number 1 way to reduce that is obviously coming over here and upgrading this. So I would highly recommend putting points into this and increasing your relocate cooldown. That way you can teleport around the map a lot quicker, and you don't have to rely on those paid teleports that are going to cost you a lot of gold. Now, the next thing to focus on, I would say, is training time efficiency. If you obviously buying gold and you're a pay-to-play player, you can just use your gold to speed train new troops. So long as you have the resources, you can keep speed training new troops. That won't be an issue. But for you as a free-to-play player, again, all the gold you have is going to go towards opening chests, because if you open chests, you can hopefully get, more relics for your dragons and upgrade them to higher star levels. So you're not going to have gold to waste on teleports or on training troops quicker. So what you're going to want to do is upgrade your training time efficiency. This will allow your troops to train a lot quicker, which means you'll have more troops quicker to get back into the fight a lot faster. The other two is just siege damage. Yeah, I don't really think you need to bother with that. If we go to the next tier, you have mod speed. Mod speed is nice, I guess, but I wouldn't put points into this, okay? I would highly recommend maxing out your relocate cooldown first, then maxing out your training time efficiency. Once those two are maxed out, either max out the realm amplifier. I know you're only going to be getting the benefit from the amplifier for 2 skills rather than all 5, because you're not going to be putting points into the other 3. But I still think, if you do want to do it, it is helpful because it will make your relocate cooldown even quicker and also your training time a lot faster. And then you can come and also put points into time efficiency just so your upgrades go a lot quicker for you. And, if you don't have as much time to sit around and wait, then that will be a bit more helpful. This tier is useless. If we go up to 45, we have a look. Now, mod speed to owned tiles, mod speed to unknown tiles. This is a lot more helpful than the mod speed buffs over here. This is going to allow you to get over to your tiles quicker, which again, this is helpful for movement. This is helpful for pathing, and this is helpful for fighting because, if you need to get to a tile first, you can maybe bounce an opponent, etc. Again, do I think you should be putting points into it? Or should I say your heirloom resources into it? No, not unless the other stuff I mentioned is maxed and you have the extra resources to put into it. Again, I don't really think it's worth it, okay? Honestly, just sit and wait, okay? If your march speed is going to take 5 extra minutes, wait that 5 extra minutes for your guys to get there. If we go over to the next tier, we can see this is more production and more capacity. Again, not really worth it. You are probably not going to struggle with resources so long as you grind efficiently, okay? Don't waste your time, don't waste your time putting heirloom resources into increasing that further. Now, this increases your protected resources, which could actually be very helpful. Now, the reason I say that is because when your base is attacked, if you are relocated, they can pillage some of your resources. So if you want to protect your resources, you could put points into these upgrades over here. So protected resources, which is, I think, this one. Yeah, this one. Protected resources allows you to have more resources that are protected, so when enemies do relocate your base, they don't steal as much from you. Again, I probably wouldn't put the points into it though, just because resources generate naturally over time, as long as you have tiles. So I wouldn't really bother doing that. You could also do this, which is increase your pillage bonus. And that basically just means you steal more resources when relocating an enemy player. If we go up to the next tier, this is again, damage. The resolve regeneration is actually very helpful. So I will say this is very helpful because this will allow you, the faster your resolve regenerates, the more mobs you can go around sweeping. And by sweeping mobs, you can obviously grind out these resources because a lot of these, this can be earned from navigator encounters. This one is events only, but I think the other two, navigator. And I think this one is also navigator. Yep, navigator. So 3 of your 4 heirloom resources can be earned from, sweeping mobs. And this directly increases your total mob sweeping capacity. So long as you have resolve, you can keep sweeping mobs. If you run out, you have to wait for it to regenerate. So it regenerating faster means you can sweep mobs for longer. So I do think putting points into this is pretty well worth it. I'm just not doing that until I max out, again, the training time and relocate cooldown, as I do think those two are the most important. Over here in the final tier, this is all just siege stuff. Again, I wouldn't bother putting any points into this because if you're a free-to-play player, if you're a small spender, focus on the things that are going to help you most at the start. Leave all these other heirloom stuff to when you have the spare resources for it way later in the game, or leave it for your alliance members, that do spend money and do have, as much heirloom resources as they want. On the dragon side of things, again, as I said, I would skip this entire first tier. It's not really worth it. This is kind of worth it just because leveling faster is going to be helpful, and you will be grinding a lot of tiles early on. You'll be grinding a lot of 1, 2, 4, 6s, whatever. And then you'll replace all your lower level tiles with 8s and 9s, and then replace those with 10s and stuff. So I do think, getting extra XP from that is not too bad. Again, I would only recommend this after your other heirloom upgrades are done, the ones from your realm expansion. But if the realm expansion stuff is done and you do just want some bonus XP, you could come and put some heirloom resources into this. And the rest of these, as like I said, are just damage, incoming damage, damage that you deal. A lot of this, yeah, look at that. That's just increasing stats. I mean, increasing stats ain't bad, but you don't have the resources for that as a brand new player, or as a free-to-play player. It's going to take you a while before you ever come to fiddle with any of these stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please do drop a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. And finally, I would just like to give a massive shout out and a heartfelt thank you to all my YouTube members who go above and beyond in supporting the channel and helping to make this all possible. Your continued support truly means the world to me, and I genuinely appreciate each and every one of you.